What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I want to talk about the Rams and the dominant performance they put on against the Cardinals. And then secondly, the performance they're hopefully going to have against the Buccaneers and what I think they need to do in order to beat Tom Brady and company. But first, before I do that, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. I'm making it all the time. All right, cool. Let's talk about the Rams against the Cardinals. I want to break that down a little bit because I thought they played probably one of their best games of the season across the board. Stafford was clean with the ball. They ran the ball very effectively. The defense was on fire all game. I think the whole team deserves a lot of credit. Sean McVay was calling a great game. The game plan was set up perfectly. Play calls were in like perfect timing and everything. I had no complaints like for that team and watching them play. The big thing for me is their rushing attack with Cam Akers now is it should be very, very steady because Cam Akers, his ability to make somebody miss is something that team was like lacking really badly because Henderson doesn't really have that. Sony's more of a smash mouth running back, but Cam has that blend of speed and power to where not necessarily like he's Todd Gurley or anything like that, but you can definitely juke somebody. His jump cuts are very good. His vision is incredible. He sees holes that I can't even see while I'm after the replay. It's crazy. He's got great vision. And I think having Akers and Sony is a big deal for them because last night they had a total of 30 attempts between the both of them for 113 yards. Yeah, it's not 4 yards a carry, but it was an effective 113 yards. And you could tell because they kept their offense balanced. I think Stafford only had to throw the ball 17 times or something like that. And he was throwing dots. So the Cardinals could never really figure out what was coming. It's like they got hit with the run a couple times. That'd be play action. You got Kupp, you got Beckham, Jefferson, Higbee was really good. Thought the whole offense was on point. They didn't really allow too much pressure from the Cardinals, which, you know, they've got some good rushers and Marcus Golden, Chandler Jones, JJ Watt was back. So they've got some animals back there. So they kept Stafford on his feet pretty much the entire game. And I think a lot of people wrote off OBJ in Cleveland. Not me. I am a big fan of the guy. And I love the way that Sean McVay is doing it because he's basically has him as like a TD magnet. Like he does some in between the 20s, but once you get in that red zone, that's where he really, really comes out. And having somebody opposite of Kupp that can do that, now the teams, if they're going to double Kupp, they're going to pay. If they're going to double Kupp, they're going to pay for it by having probably single coverage on Beckham. And if they're doubling both of them, then somebody else got to be open. So I think it's really, really important that OBJ is fitting in as well as he is because you can tell that they're having fun. And when you get that kind of cohesion and happiness amongst your team, it usually just gets everybody juiced and going. So anytime someone does well, everybody's happy. So offensively, I thought it was perfect. I think Akers I didn't know he was going to be this different because I didn't really follow him much last year, but he's back. Like, I don't know what Achilles tendon they gave him from the tear, but it must have been from like Wakanda or something like that. Because that thing must be made out of vibranium the way he's moving. Because he's like a blur out there. And it's nice to see because they really needed somebody like that was going to be like a different change of pace running back. The defense in that game, I thought the defense was fantastic. They were covering up, like they basically had the Cardinals wide receivers in a snuggie the entire game. They pressured Kyler all night long, and I don't understand what the Cardinals coaching scheme was. Like, I don't understand what it was. They kept having to have Kyler stand in the middle of the pocket the entire time. He's way better on the run. I don't know why they didn't ever really try and go to that, but to the Rams' credit, they bottled him up and made it a nightmare for him. I think Kyler had probably his worst game of his entire career, and it was pretty evident. The other thing that I noticed, they basically never gave up a big play. I think there was one play that the Cardinals had for more than 20 yards, and that was it. So once you force a team that kind of lives off of big plays to play, you know, dink and dunk style, you kind of take them out of their game. We kind of saw that happen to the Chiefs earlier in the season, where if you put that, you know, that bracket over the top, you don't let anybody beat you down the field, they kind of would have pressure. They would struggle with it. And the Chiefs figured it out as the season went along. But the Cardinals did not do that at all. They did not figure it out at all. And I think that's an indictment of the coaching. So I gave the coaching for the Cardinals an F in that game because I think they could have played a better game, but they got severely limited by that. The defense, though, it was for the Rams. They were monsters. Von Miller had probably his best game of his Rams career. Aaron Donald was doing his thing, ripping helmets off and being that nasty MF in the middle of the field. or in the middle of the line, I should say. Ramsey was a beast as usual. I think the big thing though is that they got so much pressure that it helped the secondary, because outside of Ramsey, the secondary is kind of, I guess like mid. I guess you would put it. They're not nobody. Nobody else scares you other than Ramsey back there. So the fact that they were getting pressure as quickly as they were, it was helping the secondary not give up that big play. But so dominant performance of the Rams. Love that game. They played like a team that is sending a statement, and they definitely did. The next game, though, it's going to be it's different because it's not, Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. This is Tom Brady on the Bucs, and they're the defending Super Bowl champs. And the adage is like, if you want to be that guy, you got to beat that guy. So if they want to be that Super Bowl contender, they have to beat the guy that won it last year. And they beat him earlier in the season. They beat him earlier in the season pretty handedly. But anything that's one game that was like 15 weeks ago, like a lot that could have changed from then to now. The Bucs probably have different play calling that they're going to go with. They have tape of what your team looks like against them. So I think this game is going to be a lot harder than the one against the Cardinals, because I think you're going up against probably the greatest quarterback of all time, depending who you talk to. And I think it starts defensively for the Rams in order to win this game, because you can't let Brady sit there and dink and dunk his way down the field, because he loves to do that. The thing you have to do, you have to get pressure on Brady if you want to be able to beat him. If he has all day in the pocket, you're going to lose. You're almost always going to lose if he has all day. So they have to get pressure. So Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Greg Gaines, all those guys, they have to be on him like crazy. They got to get after him really, really all game. If they don't, it's going to be a long day. Secondly, this is the thing, if it does not happen, they do not deserve, in my opinion, to move along. And it's, if you let Mike Evans go off because you don't have Jalen Ramsey shadow him, you asked for it. You basically said, you guys can beat us. They need to have Ramsey shadow him all game. That's your best corner against the rest of They don't have Godwin. They don't have AB. So they're kind of lacking in the receiving core. Now, this is the ultimate time that you want to make your best player go up against their best offensive player, other than Gronk. Depending who you value more, it's probably Evans. But Ramsey got to be on him all day. There should be no snaps where Ramsey's just standing on the other side of the field, because the Bucs are just going to be smart. And they're just going to move Evans away from him, and they're just going to put him on the other side of the field and get him open all game. So if Ramsey's on him, I like their chances. And then offensively, I got this right here. They gotta use their running backs in the pass game, because Tampa's run defense is like top 2 or 3 in my opinion. They're a wall. It's hard to run on them, and I would probably take Tampa's D line over the Rams O line. So I think they got to use their running backs in the pass game. I think this is where you're going to see the ability of Cam Akers, because I think he's a really good pass catcher. And I think if you get him out in space and everything like that, like I said earlier, his ability to make people miss is going to be on display, because they're going to be smart enough to, Cup's probably going to get his, but they're going to be smart enough to make sure they're not going to give up to anything big, more than likely. So you got to be able to beat them in between the hashes, and setting up screens, setting up little jump offs and stuff like that. Kind of like what they used to do with Todd Gurley all the time. They need to kind of go back to that a little bit and use that, because you got to spread out. You need to make it to where they can't just pin back after Stafford all game, even if they are stopping the run. You need to have it to where they're worried about having to stop anything that goes off to the D linemen, have anything go off to their side. So I think they really got to use the running backs in the pass game. That's going to be a big difference. If they do, I like their chances. Because if you're not going to be able to, because I don't know how well they're going to be able to run the ball. If you're not going to be able to run the ball, you got to be able to utilize your running backs. That's still, a lot of times it's basically a running play anyway, if you just do like a little dump off. So I think it's really crucial that they do that. And then above all, the one thing that has to happen for them to win is Stafford's got to play a clean game. No picks, no fumbles. He's got to be smart with the ball and just make sure he doesn't do anything that would make them lose. He just has to be good enough to not lose, essentially. So don't throw picks, don't, fumble, don't make any stupid decisions with the ball. Just play smart, play clean, and they have a way better chance of winning this game. I don't know what the odds are. I don't know who the favorite is going to be in this game. I don't know if I would bet on either team, because I think both teams are very, very close in terms of talent and, how good they are. I think it's really, really close. It's like a 51-49 split for me. You can pick either team. I'm personally hoping for the Rams, because I'd rather not have Brady in yet another Super Bowl. But if it happens, it happens. I like seeing new faces in the big games and stuff like that. That's where you see new legends are born and stuff like that. So Yeah, I probably hope the Rams will be able to pull this off, but like I said, they gotta make the smart, easy decisions. Ramsey on Evans, you gotta use your running backs even if you're not running the ball, you got to get pressure on Brady, and you got to play smart. That's pretty much that simple. If you're able to do that, you have a way better chance of beating that guy than if you don't make the easy decisions that are just, okay, we just need to eliminate this guy. Let's take this here. Like, you got to take things away from Brady to where you leave him with not much to work with. Okay. So yeah, if you got to this point in the video, please like the video. If you're new to the channel, like I said earlier, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I'm done here. See y'all in a few days.